This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Welcome to Primates Podcast, the podcast where we go through primates in popular culture from chimpan A all the way down to chimpan Z. This week I'm joined by two very special guests, Alexei Toliopolous from maybe my favourite podcast, Mike Check.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
What a pleasure to have you in.
Well, the pleasure is all mine, and perhaps I'll share a little with you guys as well.
We're also joined by Dave Warneke, who is my co-host on another podcast called Do Go On. Welcome, David.
Hello, my pleasure levels are also at 100%.
Sometimes people have asked me, why are you doing a podcast about primates in popular culture? And I'm like, you know what? I love primates, number one.
That's a great answer.
I love this bullet points here.
Yeah.
Number two is Mike Check, the podcast, really opened up my mind to what is possible in the world of podcasts.
So Mike Check, if you are not familiar with it, it's a podcast that me and my friend Cameron James host and created as well.
Wow.
Yeah, we created
You
it.
mean some hotshot producer didn't call you up and say, hey, we've got an idea?
We weren't headhunted for it. This was an idea from our own hearts and loins. And the idea is we go through the entire filmography of the lovely comedian Mike Myers, best known for playing Austin Powers and Shrek and other characters, just to check if his movies are still shagadelic. And it was just basically us talking about our hero for many, many episodes. And I remember when you started this podcast, you sent me an email saying, is this too similar to Mike Check? I go, no.
If you think that's similar, how many other podcasts did you have to email?
I just want to check I'm not stepping on your toes. Well, it's the only one that I'm directly influenced by.
It's like, Austin Powers is hairy like a monkey man, but he is not himself a primate. So,
If it was another podcast, it would be total coincidence. This one, I was running and I was thinking, wow, what's this podcast that I want to start? And I was listening to Mike Check and I was thinking about the rebooted Planet of the Apes and I'm like, hang on.
yeah.
What if we brought those two beautiful beasts together?
Two concepts together. I have Planet of the Apes is probably my favorite film franchise ever. And I watched the Planet of the Apes directed by Tim Burton maybe every 2 years with the intent that I'm going to love it this time because it looks incredible. The apes look out of fucking control. They look amazing and so beautiful. And every time I'm so excited to watch it and I hate it from the first second to the last second. I hate it every time.
That's a sad story. It's a real sad tale. Do you have a favourite primate, Alexei?
Number one primate, I keep saying primate, like the Pokemon Primeape, but I can't help it. Yeah, I can't help
about
it.
him in a long time.
He's one of the greats. Definitely one of the great apes of popular culture.
What was it? He evolved from Mankey?
Mankey, Primeape, and then probably Gorildo or something like that. I don't know if they do a further evolution.
Gorildo is way too close to Dildo.
But I would say the bonobos because, as you know, I'm a connoisseur of all things horny. Bonobos are some of the most sexually charged beasts in the animal kingdom. So I'm interested in bonobos.
That's a great choice.
That is a beautiful choice. Dave, I don't know, did I ask you this last time you were on?
Yeah, we talked about it. I think I said lemurs. I really like lemurs.
Oh, I
Lemurs,
love
yeah.
lemurs.
But I also really like sloths.
Oh,
Tell me they're in the primate world. Tell me.
They have to be. They're so humanistic.
Sloths are in.
They're amazing. I mean, it's the only animal that's also a sin. Isn't that great? I thought it was weird.
Is that true? What are they?
Well, of course, there's a gluttonous turtle.
You got to watch out for that bastard.
Gluttonous
He'll
turtle.
gobble you up whole, so watch out.
Here he comes. Luckily, he's super slow.
Lion.
Pride?
Oh, pride.
A group
Blind
of
pride.
lions.
Pride of lions. Where were you going, Matt?
Look, worse than that. Oh, no, hang on. According to, the first thing that comes up here, I said yes, and I'm like, I'll figure it out later.
Is this whether sloths are
It says
primates?
I Googled sloth primate.
Brilliant.
And the first thing that comes up,
They are working on a
Bing,
hybrid.
my computer is out of control. It
You've got a Dell that goes default to Bing?
It goes default to Bing.
no,
It's you go straight to Bing, type in the word Google, and then go to Google. Is that what you do? I love watching people do that. It's like a two-step process. Hang on.
Yeah.
I'll handle this.
That's really unfortunate. This
So the
computer-
most Bing search is Google.
My
Yeah.
my smart TV is default Bing, and you better believe I do Google as my first search result on it.
Because it will no longer. This computer does not let me open Chrome anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
The robots have won, but it says the first result that comes up is sloth a primate? Sloth is not a primate nor a rodent. I know, who's asking if it's a? You're answering a question
Yeah.
I'm not asking.
they are also not a reptile. It's like, okay.
They are also true creatures of the animal kingdom. They are not made up for the TV and the media.
Yeah, I swear they exist.
So it says
They may not be the world's most common beast, but they are out there and they are real.
they're from the order Pelosa.
Whoa, the police.
Oh.
Yeah.
They police the animal
Yeah.
kingdom.
It's the fuzz. That's where they get the
Are there-
name from.
what are the other Pelosas?
Oh,
Nancy
mate.
Pelosi, former Speaker of the House.
That is a very highbrow
Thank you so much.
primate-related joke. I love it. All right. Let me pick another one. How about I tell you?
It's a group of placental animals, mammals.
Oh my goodness.
Extant today only in the Americas. I love it. Extant? It's a word that's only been coming up since I've been on this podcast. It means the opposite of extinct.
I think
Oh.
it's extant, isn't it?
Extant, sure.
All I know that
Never
word
s-
from was there was a short-lived Halle Berry science fiction series called Extant. But I don't know what that means, and I never watched an episode of it.
It was about animals that were still alive. Very scary stuff. So they've also got giant anteaters in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
All right. Can I ask? Is a slow loris? Because I
Yeah,
like
slow loris is in.
great.
I think that was Jess
Hook me up.
Perkins. Also might have mentioned the slow loris. The big eyes.
I love the big
beautiful-
eyes.
a beautiful
I relate to those big eyes.
Yeah.
my eyes. But I mean, honorary mention to the sloth. Surely we can get an
Yes.
honorary mention.
Yeah, I
for
think we can-
sure.
we can.
They got to
honour
be
the
at least
sloth
a
on that one.
cousin. They got to be related
I
or
mean,
like mates with a
They'd
monkey.
hang out, right?
For sure. They're all fucking around. At
Yeah.
least a sloth has definitely fucked
Yeah.
a bonobo at one point.
Yeah, tell me a bonobo would say no to a sloth.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be more likely that a bonobo's fucked a sloth, to be honest. But
I remember once I visited a pet store and I saw a guinea pig fuck a bunny rabbit.
No.
Yes. And I think that's applicable to any animal species out there now. It's changed my worldview. It made me a more curious scientist out there in the world. A guinea pig legit jumped over a little barrier between the rabbits and the guineas, and it started humping and bumping away.
That is so. Do you
Isn't
reckon
nature beautiful?
in order of horny animals, it goes bonobo, then guinea pig.
Guinea pig,
Then
and then
maybe
a rabbit
humans.
was into it. The rabbit was depths into it. And I think it's one of my earliest memories. I was 14 when I saw that. And it switched me on. I forgot everything that happened before.
You have no childhood.
I forgot everything else, and that's where I came on board.
I think that's the spot you want to get in on board. Alexei, how do we come to the movie we're talking about today? I think it was a group effort.
Oh, yes.
You asked for suggestions, and I said that a few different listeners have suggested this one.
the movie Congo. Yeah. And then we were originally going to do with my comedy partner in crime, Cameron James, and he said that I grew up with a poster of Congo up in his bedroom.
Oh, I was really looking forward to hearing that story.
And so I was like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds good. And I have never seen this movie before. I had no connection to it. And honestly, I truly despised this movie because I had to watch it by myself. My partner fell asleep. Different partner, romantic partner, fell asleep. And I had to watch it by myself. And I'm just like, okay, this is probably a very fun movie to watch with your mates with a few beers. But sadly, I was drinking a Coca-Cola soda water by myself watching it.
Dave and I watched it today and had some fun with it, but yeah, geez, there were slow moments.
I mean,
So much happening, but yet so little happening.
it's never a good sign when several times Matt went over to the laptop
Yeah.
just to check how long it had to go.
Yeah.
Really? Half an hour? This feels like the end.
Yeah.
Half
Yeah.
an hour from here?
It is a slog. It's a long movie.
The
Also, I couldn't tell you what the plot is to this film.
well, the IMDb breaks it way down into one
Yep.
sentence. It says,
That's not a good
when
sign.
an
either.
expedition to the African Congo ends in disaster, a new team is assembled to find out what went wrong.
Okay.
I mean, that sounds like a good film.
Yeah, that's kind of a good film, but then I don't know how the monkey gets involved or the fake gorilla.
Say, please, not a monkey.
Okay, so sorry.
It's an ape.
It's a sloth.
It's not a sloth.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean,
Still trying to get that through my head.
yeah. So there was the change up from. So the start was almost like a horror film. There was a bit of suspense, a lot of bad acting, and then an eyeball.
Yeah.
An eyeball flops out.
I was thinking, because I didn't know anything about the film. Matt just said, we're going to watch this film, Congo, to talk about it on the podcast. And I was, all right, let's watch it. And then suddenly a man's eyeball is being presented and there's blood everywhere. And then it's sort of like, cuts away. And I thought, oh, it's going to be a horror film. Okay.
And then the next scene, we're talking to a gorilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in a really slow, kind way.
Yeah.
A very sweet gorilla introduction, because we're seeing this gorilla in kindergarten right after we've seen a human eyeball be chucked out at a little guy. But in the first scene, it's Bruce Campbell, who is like the king of this kind of movie. He is the lead of the Evil Dead movies. So very silly horror movies or like kind of horror satire films. He's Sam Raimi's best mate. So he's like the perfect guy to be in like kind of a fucking shitty horror movie, really. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Obviously children are listening, so keep it down to...
Sorry about the eyeball.
Sorry, I'm saying the effing and jeffing all over the place. But that's what I kind of thought this movie was going to be as well, like kind of a kind of crappy horror satire, perhaps a satire on Jurassic Park.
Right.
Is what I thought this movie was going to be, like a very Jurassic-y Parky.
Yeah, because it opens in the jungle and it immediately looks Jurassic Park on a smaller budget.
And
Yes.
both films are based on the works of Michael Crichton.
One of the biggest nerds in the literary world.
Really? And that's a hotly contested throne. Oh, so even you thought it was going to be... Because it was trying to be funny, right? Was it?
It had to have been. They had to have been trying to be getting a few laughs out there for sure.
Was there was at one point they're in Africa and they're talking to an African guy and they're like, we want to go... Are we going to make it past the border? And someone goes, you'll get over the border, but your best chance is this gorilla because no Africans are going to want to look to be mistreating a gorilla in an American film.
Yep.
Was that breaking the fourth wall? I couldn't figure it out.
Whoa, really? That's what was happening?
I don't know.
We
What
both
other?
looked
What,
at each other like, who else is going to be filming?
What American
Whoa.
film are they talking about otherwise?
Did they accidentally say film? They meant to say expedition, but they accidentally said film, and that's in the movie.
No one's going to want to see that in an American film.
Yeah.
And then, it quickly moved on. And then there was no other moments where you could...
Whoa.
I feel like
I didn't even pick up on that.
I don't know if I misheard it or what.
No, I also was like, hang on, that doesn't make sense.
Because honestly, I think I was very lost in the plot because I knew that, so the guys die at the start. They're obviously killed by some kind of crazy ape of some description.
Yeah, because you see it flash before the camera a little bit and then the camera dies.
Exactly. And that's your cold open to the movie. You're into this horror world. Then we cut to an ape who is beautiful Amy and she's learning how to speak. They put this Nintendo Power Glove on her that she can learn, communicate with sign language, and it gets translated to human language known as English so people can understand her. And then we see Laura Linney and Joe Don Baker, and they're like, we got to go get the diamonds or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, but then I never... I knew why Laura Linney wanted to go to overseas on a holiday to find the diamonds. I knew that what's his name? The guy who from
Rice or Curry.
Yeah, Curry.
Yeah,
Rice.
Tim Curry.
Curried rice. Yeah.
That really does confuse us a lot.
Yeah, I can't get those two
so
confused.
when Tim Curry goes, he wants to go for selfish reasons as well. I have absolutely zero idea why the man wants to take the ape to the jungle. Is he trying to reintroduce her?
I think he wanted it because she was having nightmares.
Amy
the gorilla was having nightmares, and he's like, and she'd drawn a lot of pictures of the jungles. He's like, she's giving us a message. She wants to go home.
Oh my god, I forgot about that entirely.
So the trip back from America to the Congo has three major parties. One is Tim Rice / Curry. I did it again, and that was not on purpose. And he is going because he secretly wants to find this lost city of diamonds.
And he's like an eccentric Romanian, possible millionaire.
Yeah, I think he's sort of like a proto Borat.
For sure.
The accent work was incredibly bad.
I was
Yes.
expecting a my wife.
Yeah,
Or, you know,
it was definitely like it has to be both those words. It was incredible, but it was awful.
I enjoyed it when he was on screen, but I kept thinking, really?
his English accent would have been perfect, I reckon.
And they
for
just say that
character.
he's Romanian.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought that there was going to be a reveal that he's like not actually Romanian. It was like
Yes,
a cover.
there was one point, and they were like, "Oh, I actually know you're." They were talking about like his backstory, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Of course, it's going to be revealed. That's why it's a bad accent because he's not an actor. He's just a diamond guy lying to everyone."
Yeah.
But then it was like, no. And
I know
someone
this guy.
actually says,
Yeah.
"I know this guy, and he is definitely Romanian."
Yes,
that was a line.
That was a
He is
line in the
definitely
movie, and it freaked me out. I was like, okay, now this movie can go anywhere if he's actually Romanian. But the cast for this movie truly is insane, right?
Yeah, every face I recognize.
Yeah, everyone is in this movie, and none of these people should be in this movie, and none of these people should be in the same movie ever. This cast, it's like an anomaly that they're all in this one movie. Like, and no one should be a lead. No one in this movie should ever be the leading actor.
So, well, I mean, Laura Linney, Dave was saying, is multiple Academy Award nominee.
I think so.
Yeah, I looked up 3 films that I hadn't seen.
Savages is one
Yes.
of them.
And 2 others as well.
all in the between about 2000 and 2007 or something.
That's
so
when
pretty
she
close
was at
together.
her hottest.
She was nailing it.
She was killing it back in the game then. And then we've got Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters.
He's good. He was my favourite in the film, I reckon.
Yeah, well, you don't have many options, I guess. Apart from Amy, the ape.
Oh, yeah, Amy the Ape was
So
pretty good.
when I was looking him up, because I was like, I couldn't remember that he was from Ghostbusters. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course. And then it said in his IMDb trivia that, according to him, out of all his roles, this was his favourite he ever did.
Oh my god.
that true?
That's so fucked up. He's great in the movie, in the TV show Oz. He plays like the warden in that. But I can't imagine that he can be like, maybe he had fun, like, just like, yeah, got to hang out with lots of people in the jungle.
Yeah, maybe
there was
the-
lots of robots and shit around.
Yeah, it was my favourite role for the time I wasn't on screen, maybe.
It was, yeah, and it's probably the closest he got to play to like some big hero, you know? That's like a cool. This film is almost like a throwback to lots of like serials from the 1940s where it would be like an African expedition. Like a lot of the same kind of films that inspired Indiana Jones.
Do you know Roger Ebert?
Yeah.
One of the most famous movie reviewers.
He is probably the most famous after me, myself, and Mark Fennell.
He has the famous 4-star system.
Yeah.
And he gave it 3 stars, saying...
Are you?
saying a splendid example of a genre no longer much in fashion. The jungle adventure story.
Are you serious? Roger Ebert gave this movie 3 stars.
I'd love to have a list of films he gave less than 3, so he critically thinks that it's better than.
Let me tell you one off the top of my freaking skull that I know he gave an extremely negative review to that makes me pissed off every day.
Oh, no.
He gave like half a star to A Wet Hot American Summer, and he wrote a Camp Granada parody as a review saying how much he hated the movie. And it's a legit classic, and this guy gives fucking 3 stars to one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
3 out of
Is this guy smoking freaking crack cocaine or something?
How is he the most famous reviewer?
I don't know. Yeah,
When he's given this 3 out of 4.
I don't know.
Oh,
I think
these
it's the
guys.
4-star thing. People just love it. They love a bit of quirk.
Oh my god, I'm upset. Alexei's upset right now.
So how did it go? Hello, mother. Hello, father.
Like, hello, mother. Hello, father. Welcome to the shittest movie I ever did see.
He had such a way with words.
Exactly.
I don't know. Did I get through all the parties?
Oh, sorry, we've gone
got
through
the
rice
so we
slash
got
curry.
The curry
Yeah,
rice.
curry rice.
The Romanian.
The Romanian. He's looking-
Definitely Romanian.
Who's? I looked up his name. You know his name, and it is not Romanian. They didn't even pick a Romanian name for his
Is
character.
Herkimer Homolka.
And
Herkimer Homolka. And his name, every time they say his name, it's just like Hama. It's like they're just making it up.
He was like, whatever. The director was like, yeah, that's good enough.
According to TV tropes, it says Homolka is so not a Romanian name. Homolka is actually a Czech surname.
Oh my god.
They've got that under the trope as long as it sounds foreign.
Another IMDb trivia fact was that he didn't appear in the Michael Crichton book. They added him in.
Oh my god!
So, like, do you reckon they were like, all right, we need to get Tim Curry in there somehow?
Yeah. Well, he only wants to play a psychopath.
Yeah.
So that's the curry rice, and he's there secretly. He's looking for this lost city of diamonds.
Lost City of Zinj, I believe is what they call it.
He keeps saying that.
Yeah. Lost City of Zinj.
And it was Solomon was involved.
Yeah,
somehow?
Solomon's mine.
King Solomon's Mine.
And then there was the scientist Laura Linney.
Laura Linney, she's
Laura-
like a ex-CIA operative who works for like I think her company's called like Travel Lodge or something like that she's going with.
And
It's like some sort of. She works for some sort of tech billionaire who seems very evil.
who was also the dad of her ex-fiance.
The one at,
Oh
the,
my
at,
God.
at the start of the film when we see someone have their eye ripped out.
It's like this movie,
He's there.
the first draft was like normal, and then they're like, we got to make sure everyone's connected in some way. We got to connect everyone up. Everyone has met at different points in time.
Yeah.
And then who else do we have? We've got Dylan Walsh, who is the primatologist who loves to hang out with the ape Amy.
Yeah, he should be our favourite here at Primates, but I don't know. He was a bit of a dud.
It's like a bit of a wet blanket.
Yeah,
He was like the very poor man's Bill Paxton.
yeah. And Bill Paxton's was the poor man's Bill Pullman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, we're,
So he's a long way down
we're
the chain.
so poor. so his famous role is Nip Tuck. Is that right?
Oh my God, he's Nip Tuck?
Yeah, he's the Nip Tuck.
Yeah, he should not be allowed to be in films. There are certain actors that should not be allowed in film.
Nip Tuck. Yeah, Nip Tuck should be a ceiling.
Exactly.
You've also got in Nip Tuck Australian Prime Minister's son,
Julian McMahon?
McMahon.
That is still outrageous.
But a beautiful fact. So they're all on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
They go to Africa. They've all got different ideas. How about the way that ex-CIA agent Laura Linney talks her way onto the plane? She gets to the runway and she's like, I've got to come on this expedition with you. You've never heard of me or met me before. I've got to be on here. I've got my visas ready and they only work if I'm on your expedition. He's like, no.
Yeah,
we're
I'm going to take a gorilla home. What are you talking
And
about?
the only way she gets on board is because Hamelka has no money to pay for the fuel, so they start taking all the crap off. And she's like, "Well, I guess you need me now. I'm quite actually rich." So
A lot of very happy coincidences through the whole film.
I mean, how does it get to that point? They've loaded everything on the plane and then they realize, hang on, we have no fuel.
Yeah.
We
He's
can- we
paid
need-
for everything but the fuel.
And it was revealed they needed $57,000 worth of fuel.
And Tim Curry Rice is laughing as he says that. I can't afford the fuel.
well, this is quite silly of me, but I have not put the fuel.
I'm afraid that accent was too good.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Is that better?
Yes. Much more-
Yak Shamash.
But it's a very bizarre set of circumstances that sees us go out into Africa, and then the film is truly magical from that point onwards.
It's a real slog to get from landing in Africa across to...
There's so much exposition, yet still so many questions. Like, why is this happening? They've spent so much time to explain what's happening, but still you don't know what's happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, they could have just been like, all right, you've been booked on the same flight as these guys. We're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, there's only one chartered flight to Africa a month, so you have to go on this one, like to this part of Central Africa. It's like, okay.
Or just go Travel Lodges, the ex-CIA guys, they're the ones putting the expedition on. Get this primatologist on board. Get this
is his
Hamelka
only
guy
one.
is another guy. I mean, that's probably why Hamelka's not in the book, because it's like, why the fuck would he be in the book? This character has no reason to exist.
we just had to get Curry in. He was on a hot streak. When was the film The Orphan Annie out? Mustn't have been more than 10 years before that.
It will probably come out around the same time. Who knows?
And then you got It. What else was he in?
It would have been around here. Rocky Horror was in the 70s. Oh, do you know what was around this time? Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, where he plays the concierge at the hotel.
He's-
So he would have
he's
been
great in that.
hot off Home Alone 2.
Hot. He's on a heater.
I mean, what's he done lately? Does he
he's
I
not
think
in
he's not well.
Not well. Yeah.
really?
He
Yeah,
used
he's
to voice
wheelchair-bound and he can't.
he had a stroke.
Yeah.
Oh, I had
He
no
used
idea.
to. The last thing I know he did, he voiced the Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious on the Star Wars Clone Wars TV series.
Oh.
Cool, man.
I just remember, I accidentally called him Tim Rice before. I think I've realised for a long time. So Tim Curry isn't the guy who co-wrote musicals.
That's
No,
Tim Rice.
That is Tim Rice.
Yeah.
Well, What a time to find out.
You thought that guy did both.
I thought Tim Curry did both. He was great in the musical The Orphan Annie. Rooster, one of the finest portrayals of a rooster on film.
Surely that guy would be teaming up with Andrew Lloyd Webber.
They're both English.
Get
They
me in
seem
there.
like they would hang out,
Yeah.
right? That makes sense.
Webb, get me in there.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
curry, rice, they sound like foods that go together well. Obviously, I've merged curry and rice many a time.
Yeah. Have you not ever merged curry and rice together?
I did last night
Well, there you go.
for my main meal.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So maybe just back off.
It was amazing. All right, I've seen The Light. Sorry.
There's something else that I felt like the director, who you know a bit about, but
Yeah.
I felt like he must be a guy who likes squeezing an animal into every shot. I felt like at
Yes.
every opportunity, down to the fact when there was already an animal in the shot. Amy the gorilla went over to the esky to get a drink, and to lift the lid, she had to knock a frog off.
Yeah, she had
Why
to-
is that frog there?
She had to bump a frog off the esky.
Yeah, and it was quite a long scene too, wasn't it?
Like every scene, he's like, how can we squeeze another animal into this?
Yeah, it's
How
like
can we fit more garbage?
pan across zebras, then an eagle lands in a tree.
Yeah. And then the giraffes come in.
Yeah, it's like, whoa.
Do you want me to give you a little biography on the director of this film?
Would love to hear.
So
a bit of
Frank
it.
Marshall is the director of this film. He is a name that's probably very familiar to some cinephiles out there listening to this
Oh,
podcast.
there's so many cinephiles.
Yeah.
listening.
Guilty. Get them in jail.
Everyone who listens to this podcast, like, we are big cinephiles.
Yep.
We need to hear nothing but hard facts.
Hard facts, hard critiques and criticisms. Well, I would tell you, I was very critical watching this film because Frank Marshall was a director of it. I got to say, I think every single shot of this movie was hideous. There was like 5 shots that were not hideous and they were fine, and that was it. I think every shot in this movie was really ugly. I think it was extremely poorly directed.
Should
I'll
we
tell
set up
you-
your credentials?
Yes, I studied film school for 6 years of my life, and I review films professionally, so that I am a high cinephile. I'm a student of cinema, and I can tell you every film that's ever been made.
You're a son of Ebert, basically.
I'm Ebert's little brother. I'm the sons of Margaret of Davids. I'll tell you the movies that he has directed. So he directed Arachnophobia, which is kind of like a crappy classic movie like this one. He directed Congo, obviously. We're talking about it.
I was about to say, I think I've heard of that one. Seriously, I forgot that was the film.
He directed the movie Alive. Do you know Alive?
Oh, no thanks to the plane. Some of us are still alive.
Yeah, exactly.
The Simpsons. I know everything through The Simpsons.
Yeah, there's a Simpsons reference. It's a movie. The plane crashes. They eat each other and shit. I
Oh,
The Uruguayan rugby team.
And he also directed the movie 8 Below, which is Paul Walker and Husky movie. So he loves animals and crap like that. But I'll tell you some of the movies he produced. He's better known as a producer. Back to the Future, Jurassic World, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Sixth Sense, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future 2, Benjamin Button, Jurassic World 2, Fallen Kingdom, Bourne Identity, Gremlins, The Goonies, Sully, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Bourne Ultimatum, Signs, Poltergeist, Hook, Assassin's Creed, that's maybe the best one, Cape Fear, BFG, The Warriors, The Color Purple,
Holy.
so Inner Space, Indian in the Cupboard. So a lot of the
a lot of
most
bangers.
classic movies of all time. He's like
Wow.
Spielberg's go-to guy, Robert Zemeckis' go-to guy.
That was an amazing list.
Yeah, he is one of the great producers in cinema history. He's produced some of the most exciting movies. He's often been on the very cutting edge of like discovering filmmakers and helping them make their next big film. He's also married to Kathleen Kennedy, who probably currently is like the biggest producer in all of Hollywood. She produces all of Lucasfilm stuff through Disney, like the new Star Wars films. And she produced this film with him.
Right, so
And-
they're a real producer power couple.
Big producer power couple. So together, they produce some of the biggest films of all time together and separately produce biggest films of all time. And when I was watching this movie, I was screaming, stay in your fucking lane because you are not a director. You should not be fucking doing this shit because it was so bad. And this
He's like-
movie...
How hard could it be?
He's been so close to great directors for so
Exactly.
long. None of it
Exactly.
rubbed off.
No, it did not rub off. He's good at letting people do their thing and obviously getting the money for people to do whatever they want. But this motherfucker is not a director and he should not be allowed to direct movies.
That is, I can't believe how many films he's been. Like, he's a legend.
Yeah, the guy's a legend.
And just to, production companies just have to say yes to him.
I guess so.
Because he's like, well, I won't come to you with these other 10 blockbusters
Exactly.
that Spielberg and stuff are going to make. So,
And-
like, all right, we'll let you direct one movie for $50 million. This is a sacrifice we're willing to make.
And he must have been undeniable at that point. There's my favorite clip on the internet is a Frank Marshall clip. It's like a little red carpet promotional thing at the Force Awakens premiere, and like some Disney losers are like interviewing like George Lucas on the red carpet, and he's like very boring, giving them straight answers, and then Frank Marshall just like comes up from behind him and he goes, "You're not gonna beat Jurassic. You're not gonna beat Jurassic at the box office." And then George Lucas just goes to him, "I'll crush you like a bug." I reckon I think about that every single day because they're like best mates, and it's just like they look like they've never spoken to each other before in the real world.
That's a real fun comeback. I'll crush you like a bug. I'm gonna find that. That's great.
Oh, that's good fun.
He sounds so. What a world they must live in.
Yeah.
I mean, he must be so loaded.
Oh, he would be probably quite rich, at least $1 million there, I'd say.
What?
Probably have $1 million in the bank.
In the millions.
Yeah, in the
Cold
millions
hard
in the
million?
bank.
I can't believe that.
No.
He
I
probably
refuse.
lives in Sydney. He's so rich.
What?
No one's that rich.
Not
no
a
one.
Point Piper, something like that.
Yeah, Potts Point, somewhere around there. One of
Whoa.
the richest places in the world.
Are all the Sydney rich towns PPs?
Yeah, that's
Peter
it.
Peter Parker.
Yeah, Peter Parkerville. It's where all the rich scientists live.
We talk about one thing that's interesting with these primate films is how do they get the monkeys or the apes onto the screen? Like, do
Yeah.
they use real apes, that sort of stuff? What would be your guess on this film here? The
I
Congo?
would believe they skinned a real ape and put a man inside it.
Because when I Googled the film, Matt, to get some, behind the scenes stuff, it said, other people ask, was Amy in the film, which is the name of the ape, was Amy played by a real ape? It's like, do people really have to Google that?
Of course she was.
Well, I
Why are you
think
Googling?
the ape it's not. You never go, "Oh, this is real." Looking at it, but I think the performance is wonderful in the ape suit. Like it looks convincing enough for me not to go, "This is shit." So
You weren't hating that element, sure.
Yeah, that was
sure.
the best element of the film.
Because she also was up for a couple of Razzies, Dave said, including...
Oh, yeah, so the film got nominated for 7 or 8 Razzie Awards.
Yeah.
Didn't win any, sorry to say.
Oh,
They were
God.
gutted.
Oh no!
She was worst actor and worst new star. She was nominated for. Like this is the start of her career.
Yeah, that's an indictment on the whole Razzies
Yeah.
system, right? I don't like the Razzies.
I don't like the Razzies. They're so mean. They're so nasty. They gave George Bush a Razzie for worst actor for Fahrenheit 9/11. So you can. They're not serious. They're not taking the game seriously enough.
But so it was Amy in particular was put on the screen with the fine work of Academy Award winner Stan Winston. You familiar with Stan's work? I'm guessing you probably are.
Not off the top of my head, but I know he's one of the biggest creature creators, along with Rick Baker. They're like the two big boys.
The two big boys. Well, that's true. So
Is that a friendship or a rivalry?
A bit of both, I hope.
Winston won prior to this film won Academy Awards for Best Visual Effects for Aliens.
Ah, hell yeah.
He also won 2 Oscars for Best Visual Effects and Best Makeup for Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh, probably my all-time favorite film.
Really?
Love it.
Wonderful movie, wonderful work by Stan Winston.
And in,
Yeah, great. I mean, it still looks good now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like older than I am.
he also was nominated for films like Predator, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns.
All wonderful creatures that he's created from his own damn mind and damn hands.
And in 94 he won
And Van Damme as well.
Van Damme Hands. And he created Van Damme Hands.
No way.
Yeah.
Some of the most fiercest creatures on the planet.
Don't get in the way of those. 94 won for Best Visual Effects for Jurassic Park.
Oh, wonderful movie. Much better than Congo.
Yeah. Another Michael Crichton work. Yeah. Do you know that? That's one of my favourite facts. It's so nice. I've said it twice.
Because this film is so close to that, I do feel a bit like that they were like, wow, Jurassic Park, that was the highest grossing film of all time. Let's panic buy the rights to every Michael Crichton movie and capitalize on this somehow.
Yeah, I did read that this film had kind of been passed around a little bit, and Spielberg did not want to do it. They asked him to do it, and then they just go, let's get your mate on board.
He's like, oh, I know a guy who's got ambitions. But also, the actors were passed around as well. Dave was saying Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant for the main role, the nip tuck guy.
Whoa,
Was-
okay.
And also,
He passed.
That'd be amazing. I'd love that.
Yeah. He's just frazzled the whole time in
He
the jungle.
falls in love with the ape. Well, I just didn't know if I could be asking you these kind of things, but you seem to have quite a way with your words yourself. So,
And didn't you say that the Montgomery part was written for Connery? Did you say that, or did I imagine?
Oh,
you say
yeah.
that?
So originally, because it's a lot older, Michael Crichton, I think, wanted Sean Connery to play the Montgomery, who's the...
the Great White Hunter, who is black.
Yeah, so I remember reading that when the screenplay, whoever adapted it, he said, okay, I'll do it, but I want that character to be played by a black actor. I don't want it to be a great white, a white guy, because I just don't see why they'd all be taking orders from a white man.
Yeah, in
And I
the
don't
middle of
in
Africa.
the middle of Africa.
Yeah.
Like, why would they have all the connections and stuff? Like, it doesn't make sense. So I think that there is a tongue-in-cheek line where he says, I'm the great white hunter, except I'm black.
Yeah.
He actually says that.
He does say that in the film. I can tell you the writer of this movie is J.P. Shanley, who I think is one of the great writers. He's a playwright. He won an Academy Award for the movie Moonstruck with Cher.
Oh.
And then he wrote and directed the movie Doubts with Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah, he's one of the
What a
he's one of the
weird
great
blip.
guys, and this is like a fucking weird blip in his filmography. They made this weird, shitty adventure movie.
Because it doesn't feel like it's well written or anything,
No.
really. But who knows what happens between... Like, directors have a lot of control over a script.
Yeah, they're
they
like,
can make a good script look
cut
bad.
that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're directing it and you're the executive producer. It's like, who's going to say no?
Yeah.
Exactly, one of the most famous, beloved producers
Yeah,
of
people
all
are
time.
like, all right, I guess he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Dave also said this film made money.
Yeah, it was like a bit of a hit, right?
Yeah, successful. So it was a $50 million budget. This is US money. And worldwide grossed 150. And then its direct-to-video rentals were good. So back in the 90s, that was big money.
Yeah, this would be a big video hit, I reckon.
And young Cameron James was getting the poster on his wall.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. That's advertising right there. That's direct advertising.
So I think, like, it was obviously okay in 95, maybe. I mean, Ebert thought so.
Ebert frothed it. That's probably enough to get like another $100,000 right there.
It looks like reviews that have been done more recently, like in the 2000s, are way more brutal. But
Good on him. My generation of critics.
That's right. The
like
truth
this,
is,
I quite like this one. A movie that appears to have been designed first as a future theme park and then as a major movie picture. That was by Lucy Mole from Film.com. She got it.
Film.com. That's probably one of the biggest websites on the internet.
wow.
She gave it a splat.
Oh, no.
Out of what? How many splats?
Just the
Out of
one
4?
splat out of 4 splats.
4 splats. It was a masterpiece.
I believe it's a rotten, is what you mean.
A rotten.
Yeah. From RottenTomatoes.com.
So I didn't do 6 years
Yeah.
at film school.
One of the about year 3, they teach how to make a fresh flick and how to make a splat flick.
It's a splatter. So talking about Stan Winston, the man who brought Amy
to
onto the
life.
screen, and also the bad apes.
Oh my god, we gotta talk about
We'll talk about Stan, and then we'll talk about those bad.
Oh, they're probably the baddest apes you've come across. I'd
Yeah,
say.
I've never come across such badass
Wow.
apes.
All right, can't wait to get to
They're
them.
real bad apes. So Winston, he was pumped for this. He had a couple of his studios had a couple of movies on the go that year. The other one was Tank Girl.
Oh wow.
But that was a lot less work for him. He was really frothing, as you say. Bit of Sydney lingo. I should say we're up in Sydney. So if you hear a few little bits of Sydney lingo, that's why. We're right in the heart of Tinseltown.
That was such a little weird laugh. I've never done that before. Please strike it from the record. Don't show that laugh on the podcast.
He said he was excited about Congo, for one, because it had much in common with Jurassic Park, which was his most successful endeavour to date. It was based on the popular novel by Michael Crichton. I don't know if that's a fact that you guys are familiar with. Jurassic Park and Congo, both based on Michael Crichton works. And Kathleen Kennedy, one of the Jurassic Park producers, was producing the film.
Yep.
Who you mentioned just before.
She's married to the director. They were fucking while on the job, I'm sure.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Inside
Is
scoop.
that a scoop?
That's a scoop. They were freaking wed.
Was that
that
an
an exclusive?
IMDb fact?
but for him, even more compelling than it being a Jurassic Park type film was that it would offer him the long sought opportunity to create gorillas.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense to me.
It had been a dream for him. Through his work on Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, Lord of the Apes,
Fuck, that
and
would be great.
Gorillas in the Mist,
Yeah.
Rick Baker had built a reputation for creating stunningly realistic apes. If Stan Winston was the robot man, Rick Baker was the ape man. Stan Winston naturally was very competitive, and that drove him to challenge Rick Baker's turf.
It was a rivalry.
This is so exciting.
This
This is like I'm on an episode of Do Go On right now.
Oh, what will happen? Surely someone will die.
Stan later admitted, Congo was kind of a proving ground for me, or at least that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted to show the world that we could do gorillas too, and do them well.
That's so exciting.
Sounds like he doesn't think he pulled it off, maybe?
No, I think the gorillas were good, right?
I think they were dope. They looked
It was
awesome.
1995. I mean, the Amy thing, her going around with the backpack and having that weird, sweet voice and stuff was a bit odd, but the
But
gorillas
that's
themselves...
that's not his choice, though. Yeah, sure. I think he did his job well.
He did a wonderful job, Stanny, baby. You should be extremely proud of yourself. For this one, Tank Girl, hey, Chuck and Jurassic as well. But I think the gorillas look fabulous. I think the silverbacks, were they real as well? Or were they a creature from Stan Winston's twisted mind?
They were very silver, the backs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of the silverback.
It was the first time I got the name. I was like, oh.
Matt, I think also Matt audibly said it.
I said, oh, that is a very silverback. So, according, this is all off the StanWinstonSchool.com website.
One of the finest schools that you can ever hope to graduate from.
Is that where you went?
Yeah, I did studied abroad at StanWinstonSchool.com.
For 6 years.
For 6 years.
It says, in many respects, the Congo project was as doomed as the story's characters.
Oh.
Due in part to early design decisions intended to make Amy a more comely leading lady. So
Gotta
he
make
was...
those leading ladies comely.
Yeah. Can you elaborate there, Matt?
Can you spell comely as well, please?
Comely. Get out of the gutter. I know that's how you live up here in Sydney, you bloody gutter boys.
We're disgusting gutter boys up here.
He knows sex sells. We need that gorilla to be comely.
But I think you could see, like, thinking back, it was like slightly more. I think it was slightly less full realistic. The other ones, I reckon, were a bit the badass apes were, and also the wild gorillas looked more realistic to me than some. There was something about Amy that was like very slightly cartoonish.
I think Amy had a cuter, like, human childish face, like a little cartoony face. Like, there's that thing where they try to make creatures in like animated films to make them look more cuter and sweeter. They add like human elements to them.
Yeah.
I can see that in Amy's face to make her look more beautiful and comely.
Yeah,
if you will.
comely.
Oh, so comely.
So to speak.
Can we quickly talk about one of the human elements, which was very perplexing for me when they were on the plane to Africa, sitting in business
Oh my
class
gosh.
style seats. Amy got a little upset. They had to explain to her, "You're flying. It's all good. It's all good." They calmed her down by giving her a martini.
Yeah,
In a
she
glass.
full on drinks a martini.
She just socks it back.
Which is the only photo I'd seen. When someone suggested it, I looked it up. I'm like, I think I know what kind of movie this is. I thought it was going to be like a weird buddy
I thought it
movie.
was like George of the Jungle, like it's an ape that's like, well, yes, come back to my Africa and I shall show you around. Yes,
Yeah, but seriously, it was just like, that's really maybe the one comedy part, and it's not even played up for comedy. It's
No.
like,
Yeah, she asked
and,
for
then,
a...
and then the trainer goes, "It's okay, she can have one."
Yeah, it's okay. She loves a drink. She's quite comely, if you haven't noticed.
Why didn't they teach her the word for martini as well? 'Cause she asked for it. Or why didn't they just make that translate to martini with her voice activated
Exactly.
thing? She
This
did the
is-
sign and it said, "Can I have a raindrop juice?" I was like, I'm like, that's a water. That's
Yeah.
water you're talking
No,
about.
I want a vodka martini, shaken not stirred,
Yeah.
and I can tell if you stir it and not shake it. I can tell.
And you don't want to fuck with me. I'm a full-grown ape. I'll rip your freaking dick off, mate.
Yeah, we're on a plane.
Yeah.
This could go really badly.
But Winston does have regrets about making her a bit cuter. But that were his instructions. But he said, we took a lot of artistic license with Amy that, in hindsight, we shouldn't have taken. Part of that artistic license was putting a lowland gorilla face on what was supposed to be a mountain gorilla, just to make her more appealing.
goodness.
She
Rookie
was
error.
cuter, but we paid a price for it because there was a sense of reality that was lost in the character.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see why you'd be staying awake at night all night, Stan Winston, after doing this 20 years ago.
Fuck, Baker would never make that mistake.
Yeah, don't put a lowland face on a mountain body. Yeah, real bloody amateur hour stuff.
But I can totally see why he would sign on to do this. Like, not just the rival with Rick Baker, but I would say like the two big gets for like people that were children around the same generation that Rick Baker and Stan Winston would have been, the two that were inspired by like all these like shitty movies from the like early black and white days, would definitely be like Wolfman, like Lycans from the Underworld franchise.
Oh yeah, from Underworld.
Yeah,
yes.
but you know, like Wolfman and King Kong would be like the two most magnificent creatures from that period in time. And I know Rick Baker really wanted to do, his dream was to do like Wolfman stuff. And so he did American Werewolf in London, and then he did the Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro. And so I can imagine why they would be seeing these creatures like gorillas, like King Kong would be such an influence for these guys to go, I want to make that costume. I want to create that creature that I grew up with. And so I can see why he would be so on board to go like, I can finally do this. I can finally bring an ape to life and
Live
make
in
her
the dream.
beautiful and comely.
Keyword.
Comely lowland gorilla face.
But the bad apes are dope in this movie.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty awful looking, hideous.
Yeah.
But the way they move, all apart from that one scene briefly. So I guess we should catch up with the story.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah,
where
gosh.
these bad apes come in.
You want to
maybe.
take us there, Dave, from the our journey through Africa?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that you don't really even need to have in the film.
Mm.
It's a long journey. They nearly get shot down in the plane by African rebels.
Mm-hmm. They like when they land in Afro, they got Joe Pantoliano, who's from The Sopranos, is like, yeah, kiddos, you can't get in here. What are you doing here and stuff? For no reason. He's just there in two scenes for no reason. And then they meet Delroy Lindo, who's like some like militia leader.
Oh, and he has the best line in the whole film, which is I'm going to butcher it,
Yeah.
but it's Tim Curry is eating an apple,
Tim Curry.
Oh, he's eating
pear? Is it a
his
pear?
sesame cake.
sesame cake. I love it. And the rebel leader just says to him, "Stop eating my sesame cake." He doesn't stop eating it, so he immediately repeats, "Stop eating my sesame cake."
And then end scene on a close-up of Tim Curry, right?
Yeah, Tim Curry scoops the cake out of his mouth and puts it and the half-eaten cake back on the cake table.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
then-
the end of the scene.
That's the end of the scene, and suddenly it's like, all right, we're good to go. And then they get in this plane that nearly gets shot down. They have to parachute out, which includes Amy having to parachute. That's the primate.
Yeah.
And the way they do that is they drug her up by putting something in a banana to relax her, and then she just hugs a man while he parachutes out and hopes that a drugged ape won't let go and fall to her death.
It's they put in it's Gorilla Valium. Like
Gorilla Valium.
I think I love it. It's like it's Gorilla like just say Valium. But
Yeah.
anyway, Gorilla Valium. I guess that's the one for gorillas.
Exactly, I would guess so. If I had to guess, Gorilla Valium is probably for gorillas.
Makes sense. No, actually, that does make sense to me now. So they've jumped off. They're into the forest or the jungle, even the bush, the scrub.
Yeah.
And then they keep journeying through. They meet interesting characters on the way. One is a lion who's looking for a heart. Then they've got the Tin Man. But they're picking up a few different characters on the way through. Some people are dying as well.
You guess there's a hippo comes out of the water and attacks them on
my
their blow-up
gosh.
raft.
Stan Winston created those hippos. They were great.
They looked good.
sublime. The hippos were extremely comely, if I am to borrow words.
They did combine lowland hippos though with the mountainous hippos.
I did.
Strange.
I did notice that, but I forgave it because it did make them more comely.
They looked superb. They were sublime creatures from the mind of Stan Winston.
Oh, so great. But before we get to these bad apes, I just want to quickly mention the most brutal part of the whole film, which is where Amy sees... So the whole idea is that she's going to be reintroduced into the Congo jungle.
Yeah.
She sees 3 silverbacks in the wild, and they say, yeah, go up to him. And she tries to sign to them with the machine on that says, like, hello, Amy, good. And they just turn their backs on her,
Yeah.
because they obviously don't speak sign language or understand the English that's being translated. And then
Like, what a freak.
our main lady, what was her character's name again?
Laura Linney.
Laura Linney says in front of Amy to her handler, well, I guess she doesn't fit in anywhere.
Brutal.
And then you realize, hang on, I think she understands English. That is the most brutal thing you could ever say to anyone.
Yeah.
I guess you don't fit in anywhere. Huh. And then she walks off.
What a privileged life you've lived if you think the worst thing anyone can say to you is that you don't fit in.
Anywhere.
An ape.
An ape who's had the lap of luxury in business class, sipping on martinis. It is quite the life.
It's all coming crashing down.
Because it feels like she fit in really well in first class.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
behaved herself, and she's very good friends with her handler, the primatologist.
It's too close to proctologist. Proctologist. Anyway, so, and then Matt, you want to take over here and say how they come to these evil apes, which...
So it all starts, everything starts sinking in. The at the very start, that eyeball scene happened, but we didn't know where it quite was. But in the end, it's where all three parties are trying to get to the same spot. The diamond from the diamond company.
Yep, from the Travelodge.
Travelodge.
Called. I don't know if that's actually called.
Laura Linney's Travelodge. They wanted to get to this spot to find the diamonds. Borat.
Yeah, Borat.
Tim Curry Rice.
He's dying to go to the lost city of Zinj because he's heard about it ever since he was a child, and he found this little ring that had an eye on it, and he saw that the comely gorilla had drawn an eye from her dreams. He goes, "That is my jungle Solomon mine, the city of Zinj I must head to."
And that's the same spot. And then, I guess, not really, but the Amy also wants to be returned to somewhere around that area.
Yeah, because she dreams about that.
She dreams about it, so she's connected to it as well. So they find, and then they find this spot, and it is the Lost Kingdom of Solomon's Mine or whatever, and Zinj. And they get in there, and they find it to be heavily guarded by these wild-looking grey apes.
Yeah,
a species of ape that, until this point in time, were unknown to science.
Until the movie Congo was made and they were discovered.
They were discovered, and they look evil but great.
Yeah. They look fantastic, but also raggedy asses.
Raggedy.
Oh,
They're raggedy ass.
Oh my God, that is not a comely ass.
We find out that they were trained by King Solomon and his people.
Yeah.
And they eventually overthrew the Solomons.
Oh my God, a story as old as time.
And took over the place, but they still heavily guarded these diamonds for whatever reason.
Do they need the diamonds for anything? That's not really explained, but cool.
For the guns.
No, sorry, but do the evil, why are they protecting these diamonds?
They look sick, I reckon.
Yeah, they do look sick.
Why are you touching our jewels, man?
Yeah, we love these jewels.
How about this for a fact? Those diamonds were real diamonds.
Is that real?
Apparently.
That is amazing.
Yeah, they were there. There's only 2 places where they could have got them, and they borrowed them from some shop in New York or something, and they were the only kind of diamonds that look that big and also like diamonds.
They honestly did not look like diamonds in the movie. They looked like perspex or some shit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
it's awful.
Everyone knows real diamonds don't look like diamond on film.
Frank Marshall's like, okay, we got to make them sparkle. They got to sparkle it like that, just like they do on set. I want them to look like freaking De Beers diamonds.
So these apes, I'll post this picture, but this is sort of them being created. Hideous.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
They look fabulous.
They're
like half Yeti or something. They're real springy.
They look a bit like they've got some sort of infection on around their faces.
They look like they have got some sort of fucked up disease.
Yes.
And nearly all these gorillas, so they, Stan initially wanted to maybe use CGI, but they were finding it too hard to get the hair right.
Yeah.
So he decided to go with real stuff. So he used puppets and animatronics and that sort of stuff.
Good on him.
So this is Joey Orozco from Stan's school. Mm-hmm. He said, Stan really let us use our imaginations in coming up with something unique and specific for each of our characters, talking about these badass apes. So they all look quite different. Every face is a bit different.
They're unique.
And that's because they were sort of selectively bred by Solomon's people to pick out the bad ones, the angry ones, the violent ones. Okay. And then they slowly morphed into this hideous inbred freak show that ends up being the grey gorilla protectors of the mine.
I love the design and thought that went into this piece of shit movie.
There's more thought gone into that scene than any other part of the movie.
Than the script.
I think in that scene, and this sort of building up to the main climax of the film, is there's fight scenes here with these gorillas.
Yeah.
And we find out at one point we see a pile of gorilla bones.
Yeah.
And the primatologist, the proctologist, he goes, these aren't the freak gorilla bones. These are normal gorilla bones.
Yeah.
And it looks like they've crushed their head. So we learn in that moment that they also kill anyone who comes in, including other gorillas.
Gorillas wandering in to try and find these diamonds.
But then there was this scene. What did you think of the scene? I'd love to hear a filmmaker's take on it. So there was this. It looked badass. The first one they were inside, came across and was like, and it was coming real fast. Like, wow, that looks cool.
Yeah.
And then the very next scene, they went to this sort of almost like a strobe effect. Briefly,
that was really bad. I thought my player had stopped working.
I was wondering if it was just our player as well that was malfunctioning for that one scene. So obviously that is a choice that was made.
So it would be a choice that was made. So what happened would be, my guess, is that they filmed the scene regular style, baby. They filmed it regular style, 24 frames per second, roughly, whatever they were filming in, would be 24 frames per second is traditional speed. And then they would have wanted to go slow-mo. And slow-mo is typically a much larger frame rate per second, but because they don't have enough frames per second to slow it down slower, that's why it looks so weird and choppy.
right?
So there's it would have to be a deliberate choice, or are they fucked up? And Frank Marshall wasn't thinking far enough ahead as a director.
Yeah, and then when they went to cut it 3 months later, they're like, "Oh, we've dismantled the set."
And then
Crap.
and didn't even make the decision to go, well, let's just not have that shot.
Yeah, it looks very, very bad. It does look like there's a glitch in the system when you're watching it.
Yeah, that's the worst. Out of everything, that's the bit that's dated the worst.
Do you think that maybe he was hoping that people at the cinema would see it and go, "Well, I guess that's just Hoyt stuffing up"?
Yeah.
The director would never choose to make that decision.
I think it was between that scene and Charles's acting at the very start.
Yeah.
They were the two bits that were the least convincing
Yeah.
of a pretty unconvincing film.
I think, but then right after that, we start seeing gorillas be chopped up by a laser. Like they find the laser gun, which is like one of the reasons they go into the cave is to find the laser gun that went missing on the last expedition.
Mentioned very briefly at the start,
Yeah,
and then
and
at the end she finds it.
And it's powered by diamonds, so that's why she's there for Travelodge, because they want to create this new weapon that's powered. I guess
She pulls a diamond out of dead Charles's hand.
Yep.
And it was hard to tell that he was dead because his acting when he was alive was similar. But she pulled it out of her hand and put it into the laser, and then just started mowing down.
They're getting sliced and diced and set on fire. It's an insane moment. It's insane.
Yeah, it's like it's jumping from Jurassic Park into Terminator or something.
Yeah, and their arms are flipping off and stuff. They're getting mowed down and torn apart.
Tim Curry Rice has already been taken down. He picked up every diamond he could find, and the grey.
and as you noted, Matt, refused to put them in his pockets.
Yeah, he's wearing a safari suit with the you couldn't have had any more pockets, and he's cradling him to his chest.
What are you going to walk back through the Congo jungle cradling diamonds?
I guess it's like when you go out on the town and you buy that toy or whatever you've wanted, and you're just like, I just want to hold this and look at it on my way home.
All right, I want people to know that I got this.
Yeah. You're just excited by it. You just want everyone to know, and you want to see it yourself.
That does make sense. Just before the laser comes out, Amy, who's gone and met up with a gorilla family, she's gone missing. The Montgomery says to our primatologist, Hey man, we got to get out of here or whatever. And the primatologist is like, where's Amy? We got to find Amy. He's just forgotten about her.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, humans first, then gorillas. Do you agree? And the primatologist, who's dedicated his whole life to primates, it made me feel sick in the stomach. He says, I agree.
Oh, God.
What a piece of fucking work.
Turned his back on her.
As our local primatologist, did you feel betrayed by him?
I felt betrayed, yes.
But could you also empathize with him, wanting to save your own skin rather than the thick skin of a gorilla pal?
No, never. Gorilla first.
Human second.
Yeah.
I agree.
Gorillas together, ape together, strong.
Third, sloths.
Sloths. So they get out. They've with the help of Amy. She comes in and she, for whatever reason, sort of baffles the freaky grey gorillas.
Because they're sort of surrounded. It looks like it's all over because they're going to be murdered by these murderous evil apes. And then Amy just charges in, does a bit of a and
also, doesn't she say Amy, good gorilla. Or
Yeah.
something
You
like
guys
that.
are bad. I hate you. You ugly gorilla.
Yeah.
Ugly. You fucking ugly.
And
Yeah,
she's
she's
really
the
small.
G-L-Y. You got no alibi. You ugly.
And they are hurt by that. They've never had that kind of feedback
They're
before.
taken aback.
They're like, whoa, really?
What do I do with that kind of
Okay.
feedback?
I need to think about my comeback.
They start crying.
Yeah. Basically, and while they're crying, the others get away.
Yeah. And then, I mean, so through this movie, the things that happen, they arrive in Africa.
Uh-huh.
What country? They jump
They
through a lot
arrived
of
in
countries.
Central Africa.
Oh, Central
And
Africa.
they're
Central
talking about
African-
Zaire a goddamn lot and Congo, obviously.
So they're in the airport and they're driving, they're ferrying or whatever they say, taxiing.
Yeah.
And then a car explodes on the runway. And it's like, well, that's unlucky timing. Or this place is real messed up.
Yeah.
Then they're at the they're just getting out of the diamond company mine from Solomon and his friends, the Grey Gorillas, and the mine is built on a volcano which is now erupting.
Oh my
which must be the
gosh.
first time in a long time because it's sandy floor inside.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it's lava. Like lava lasts a long time once it hardens.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is an ancient kingdom, so we're thinking, 3,000 years it's been there. The jungle's grown up around it. So it clearly hasn't erupted in 3,000 years. And the day they arrive,
Yeah.
it erupts.
Real
yeah,
unlucky.
and it's kind of out of nowhere. Like, I thought, the laser accidentally turned the sand to liquid hot magma. Now they're all stuck there. But it just happens out of nowhere. And it's a huge eruption.
You could have said that to Frank Marshall. He would have been like, well, that's not why it erupted. It's just chance. You're reading too much into this.
It was destiny. Can't you tell? I've been leading up to one point of the whole film. It's just destiny that all this is happening.
I'd say that was not the best. I don't think that Stan had anything to do with the lava effects because they look like someone had drawn them on with a texter.
It definitely looks like someone's got like clip art of fire and just chucked it over the entire scene.
So bad. And then the evil apes start panicking, and a lot of them just jump into the lava.
Yeah, they do like bombs into it and stuff like that. Like one of them did a belly flop.
Yeah. Whoops! Oh,
Oh,
this
it's
isn't.
not Paul.
Oh, this isn't a pool.
It looked gooey and nice, but instead I'm burnt to a crisp.
Yeah, that was weird. No explanation for that. I guess that's just something that certain species of ape do.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that Laura Linney does say. She starts mowing them down. She says something like, "Welcome to the extinction list."
Oh my god, that's
Real
a
90s action hero.
badass line.
Oh, it was bad.
Welcome to the Enkstand list, Amy. You shall survive.
And then that's basically the end of the film. Laura Linney knows that in this wreck of a plane they walked past earlier, there'd be a red and yellow box which would have a hot air balloon in it.
Yeah, and she Skypes her fiance's father and is like,
Who's the boss of Travelodge?
yeah, he's like, did you get the diamond? And she's like, well, I told you, if I ever figured out that you cared more about the diamonds rather than my husband, I would be upset
Who was
with
his
you.
son?
Yes, exactly.
He didn't give a shit. It was wild
The
how much.
strangest part about that for me was at the start of the film, he goes to her, "You have to go there to get the diamonds," and she goes, "I'm only going there to get your son back." And he goes, "Yeah, cool, the diamonds." And she goes, "All right, but if I find out this is just about the diamonds,
Yeah.
not about your son," he literally sent her to get the diamonds.
Yeah.
Why and then she's surprised at the end when all he says is, "Who cares about my son?" Basically, where's the diamonds?
I want the diamond. I want the freaking diamond. Give me my freaking diamond. And then she's like, okay, Schmingus, I know what you're up to this time. And then she just shoots the satellite.
Yeah, he's got a satellite, so
which
she uses the laser gun powered by the diamonds to shoot down his laser.
We learn earlier in the film that that's his cash cow at the moment, but it's only got 3 years left of making money for him before the technology fails or gets superseded, and so she shoots it out of the sky.
And before she says that, she says, "This is for you." Insert name of fiance
Charles.
here. Like, is that really what he wanted?
And then she said, welcome to the extinction list to the guy on the Skype call.
And then they're in the hot air balloon, and she asks the primatologist to throw the only... Like, all the other diamonds have been buried under the
The
lava.
liquid hot magma.
Yep. And she has one, which she doesn't have to give to the bad guy. Sell it or give it. She's there with her two friends,
Yeah.
Montgomery and the primatologist.
Sell it,
and she goes, throw this over the edge.
And then Ernie Hudson's just like, well, that's gotta hurt. He he goes, ouch, basically, when she throws
you
it
just
out.
threw millions of dollars overboard that you could have given to me.
Exactly.
Instead, you've chosen to give it to the ocean or whatever.
Exactly.
What a-
Give it back to the primatologist to make a new Amy so he can fall in love with her again.
Now, can I give you my final IMDb trivia section?
Please
fact?
do, I'd
You
love
said
to,
before
yeah.
that the diamonds were real.
Oh, is that
You
not
s-
true?
No, that's also, I read that in this IMDb list.
Probably where I
But then
saw it.
underneath that, I don't know if you read a couple of facts down, it said that during that scene when they threw it out of the hot air balloon, it was legitimately lost. Which makes it like, surely it's in a studio and it's in front of a green screen. Like,
Yeah.
how have they lost So they throw the diamond. Apparently, they couldn't give it back to the Cartier or whoever.
Yeah, that's insane because
That
it's
can't, I mean, because that'd be worth millions.
and they're not in like an actual parish, like a hot air balloon
they're
in the
not,
Congo.
They're not over the Congo.
Because then they'd need to get another hot air balloon to film the other one. So there's no way they'd do that. Probably some production assistant like, can't find it on the ground.
Totally.
Can't
it's-
find this $8 million diamond.
It's not weirdly enough, it's not around. I'm being underpaid, by the way, right, aren't I? So
Yeah, so I can't tell you if that is got a source, but it's part of the IMDb trivia page. I choose to believe it because I love it.
that's incredible. I reckon that's true.
I love it as a fact. That's a hot fact to finish with.
I hope it's true.
We normally Dave, you know this, but Alexei, you might not.
Uh-huh.
I know you've probably listened to every episode.
I've listened to every episode, but I turn
I'll
it off at a point.
but for
Yeah, as soon as the film bit stops, the film critic also stops.
we try to, like, instead of giving the film a ranking, we try to see how much of ourselves we see in the main primate character,
okay.
right?
Yes.
So chimpanzees share 98% DNA with humans, apparently. As a percentage, how much of yourself, Alexei, did you see in what's her name?
Amy.
Amy.
Amy, good. She says that many times.
Yeah. So as,
G-O-D. Good.
how much is
Oh,
as
that's
a
gone,
percentage?
unfortunately. I just realised.
I thought that was just highlighting the fact that she's actually doesn't have the greatest command of the English language.
How much would I see, percentage-wise, would I see in Amy?
Yeah. So like, and what and why? What gives this 10% here and
Well, I would say that me and Amy, we do have quite a bit in common. We're both sweetie pies and we both love the English language.
Yeah.
Of course.
And we talk with our hands. I'm a passionate Mediterranean man, so often I talk with my hands as well. So I can see quite a bit of myself in her. I would say up to, dare I say, 69%.
Wow, that's quite a match.
that is good. That is a good ratio. Yeah.
I think so, because there's other stuff that
Yeah,
I'm
what's
I don't
the-
see I'm not as courageous as Amy. I could never stand up to a gang of disgusting apes and call them ugly. I would never be able to
face.
sing that bad.
You'd never sing that song.
The closest I could do, maybe I'm working the red carpet Joan Rivers style and I can say that people are ugly on the red carpet. That's probably the closest I could do. But if I'm confronted by them, I would say, you are all beautiful and please leave my friends alone.
That is nice. 69. What about you, Dave?
I'm going to give it a 50%,
50. Yeah.
based purely on the fact that I also like martinis.
Oh,
yes.
that
Everything
equals
else
50% for you.
Everything else is.
I-
mean, surely that was 50% of our character trait.
Yeah, that's true.
That tells you all you need to know about it. Well, half you need to know.
I too love raindrop juice.
Oh, yummy, yummy.
And yourself?
Oh, I think I'm probably somewhere between the two of you. Probably, 50, 58, 59%. I have a backpack that I
Yes.
wear often.
Yeah.
I too wear a backpack. Maybe I have to go up to 69.69%.
That's true. Yeah, I think. Look, I think she is a beautiful soul, and I'd like to think that about myself.
Yeah, I can guarantee you actually, I see people's auras and souls, and yours is one of the most heavenly creatures on the planet.
Well, thank you so much. That is really nice. And as a movie, would you say splat or no splat?
This is a definite splat. This is really bad. I've had to endure many shitty movies for podcasts. This would be definitely in the top 3 or 4% of shitty movies I've had to see for podcasts.
Whoa.
For sure. Worst, this is up there with like Suicide Squad, I'd say.
Right.
That's one of the worst movies I've had to see on a podcast or review for a podcast.
And that's famously bad.
Famously, it's one of the most horrendous movies.
We also at the end of the show we have a segment which is called something like Primate Sporting Mascot Segment.
Yeah.
And I go through the beautiful world of sporting mascots and find my favorite and also the only primate sporting mascots I can find, really, because it turns out there's not that many of them and I'm running out very fast. So if any listeners know of any, please message in. Do you have a favourite sporting mascot? You're a big sports man?
I've never seen a full episode of sports in my life, so I'm not quite sure.
Not even season 1.
Not even season 1 of any sports. I missed out.
Oh, there's this one in Japan. It's a baseball mascot. I can't tell you the name of it, but it is
please.
basically. I'm sworn to secrecy. It's like the bones of a fish inside. That's just like it looks like a man inside a bone suit.
Okay.
And then over the top, they put on a big round fish costume that they run around and hold up like you're wearing like a fake cardboard car or something. And then they run around in that.
Oh
and then
my God, I was imagining a cartoon and couldn't follow what was going on.
No,
now
this
I
is
understand.
real. They run around on the field and then
Yeah.
they squat down inside the fish. So it's just the fish with its mouth gaping open. And then they just dive out so the bones are being flung out of it.
Whoa.
It is hilarious looking.
That is beautiful and insane.
Oh.
Bing.
Probably from the twisted mind of Stan Winston himself.
Oh, no, I think I found it. I was going to say Bing did not help me out, but is it this?
Yes, that's it.
That is
Wow.
pretty amazing.
That is it. The mysterious fish mascot.
What does it say? It looks like a baseball, the fish.
Yeah, so it's a baseball
So
shape.
it's a baseball team.
But it looks like one of the deep sea sort of glow in the dark type fish.
Oh.
Because it's got that,
What are those-
like sort of like a pop up lamp thing over its head.
Yeah. What are those babies called?
So it's good fun. So they can see a photo. The Chiba Lotte Marines in Japan. So that's the bones of it, and it sort of spews out of this. It runs around the bone suit, and then it jumps back into the fish, and then keeps running. It's very funny to watch.
This is one of the best things I've ever seen, and I just watched Congo.
top 3 or 4%.
I think you've beaten my primate one. That is an amazing one.
Yeah, so there's like a still of it jumping out.
Wow.
So you can share the video of it, Matt.
I
Because
will
it's really
do that.
good fun.
Dave, that's
And
amazing.
there was a video that went around a couple of months ago.
Oh my gosh.
Of it at the airport, waiting for like the person in the bone suit waiting for the fish costume at the luggage return
That's
at an
fun.
airport.
This is amazing. This is one of my new favorite things.
It's really fun.
That is great. I've never heard of
The
that.
Chiba Lot mascot. There you go.
Maybe I should give sports a chance,
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
This is what sports is all about. The primate sporting mascot I was going to talk about this week is the A-Leagues. You familiar with the A-League, Alexei?
The Hyundai A-League is the local rag of sports and soccer, I believe.
It's the soccer, it's the Australian Soccer League.
Yeah, Sydney FC. I'll vote for them.
Yeah, their mascots are Blue and Sky, 2 blue humanoids.
Oh, that's
Oh.
very dull.
Okay, that's
so
awesome.
dull they needed 2.
It was a real committee decision, that one, I reckon.
They could only afford 2 members of the Blue Man Group. They couldn't get the third.
But the one we're talking about today is Perth Glory's mascot, George the Gorilla.
Glory, Perth, Australia. I've actually seen one Glory game. I was allowed to go.
Your
watched?
story is
Yeah.
unraveling.
Yeah, I'm
You
like,
watched the full episode of Glory.
but it was live, so it was a play.
Right.
It was like a play for me.
All right. Yeah, you're like, oh, the third act is going to be great.
In 2015, the Daily Telegraph ranked all of the A-League's mascots and rated George number 1,
Okay.
beating even Blue and Sky.
Well,
No.
not Blue
Sky
and
Blue.
Do you reckon they were separate on the list? So Sky's at 2 and Blue's at 5, and
Yeah.
Blue's like, what the hell?
What the
You've
hell?
ruined it for me. You've ruined it.
This is what they said. I think once you hear this, you'll be on board as well. It's a purple gorilla as the mascot for Perth Glory. What's not to love?
Yeah, that's number 1, baby. That's how you get to number 1.
Yeah, I mean, how bad are the other ones?
Do you have a picky of it? Can we have a sneaky?
You can have a sneaky peek. It says, George has built up a bit of a cult following at NIB Stadium, and it's not hard to see why.
He's a purple gorilla after all.
I mean, that's cult.
He's like a freaking Hanna-Barbera character, the purple
Yes.
gorilla. Magilla Gorilla.
That was the name of it, was it? Yeah.
Magilla Gorilla.
He was good fun.
Magilliga.
McGilliga. Oh, hang on. There's other gorillas called George. I got to be more specific.
Oh, come on. Perth Glory. If he
Perth
doesn't,
Glory
if
gorilla.
he doesn't even get the number 1 Google image spot. Oh, sorry,
Bing.
Bing image spot, yes. Is that him
He's doing a piss.
Is he doing a piss above a fountain?
That's fun. All right,
That's
that's
awesome.
Actually, that is the photo they said, and they said, look at this photo. It's hard
So he's straddling a sprinkler and making it look like he's pissing.
doing a thumbs up.
What a ledge.
Well, do you want to know a little bit about the man behind the suit?
No.
For it to be a mystery, please.
He's a man. Well,
Okay,
block
I'll allow it.
block your bloody ears.
Okay.
I thought this is the theatre. This is an actor. This is the
Okay,
guy that
sure. I'll give the guy respect.
You
Let's
know?
not think theatre's trash, movies rule.
This man treads the boards. But, you know, it's shown on Fox Sports sometimes. So what is that if not a movie? At 24 frames a second. So the man's name is Simon Lumbus, and he's a 44-year-old father of 3. He told the Age newspaper last year that he has no plans to hang up the suit just yet. I used to do gymnastics a while ago, and I was in great nick, and backflips were easy, he laughed. Funny joke.
Used to be?
Right now, it's getting a bit harder. Gravity is not my friend, and the suit gets a bit tighter every year.
Oh my goodness, he's putting on weight.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. He's putting it through the wash on a very high heat setting. Cool it down, George.
As well as playing George, Lumbus also dons the Perth Wildcats mascot Wilbur's suit in the NBL, isn't National Basketball League, as well as playing Rick the Rock Eagle for the West Coast Eagles and Johnny the Doc Docker for the Fremantle Dockers, who were arch rivals in the AFL.
So,
Probably the archest of rivals.
He has locked down the West Coast.
Yeah.
so that was the NBL team from Perth?
Perth Wildcats, yeah.
He's done all 4.
Yeah.
The big 4.
My gosh. This is if someone got to play Dracula, Wolfman, and Frankenstein's monster.
All in Perth.
Have you been to Perth? It's the only place I've ever seen multiple people wearing NBL singlets.
Wow.
Right,
Like, they all go to the games and they're all wearing...
They're decked out.
Wildcats are big. I think they're my team.
Really?
I think so. In a radio interview with 6PR, he said that he keeps it pretty quiet that he plays both the Docker and the Eagles mascot.
Yes.
Oh.
We are exposing this
You've
fraud.
you've doxed this freaking guy, dude. You've doxed him.
He said when people find out he's hated, they don't like him at all. But I also did say he told this on radio.
Yeah.
He said on radio he keeps it quiet.
He's got 3 kids to worry about, man, and you just shocked the country with it all.
No. So the question is, what happens when the 2 Perth teams play each other?
Well, he did address that. He was with the Eagles first, so he does the Eagles. So there's a Docker for 1 day a year, or two matches a year.
Wow.
So why not just get that anyway?
Get a new Docker. Sorry, mate.
So you watch it,
Sorry, brother.
but you also might be like, won't they just look the same? You go to a Fremantle game, you go, hey,
Yeah.
this looks like all the same. Well, no, because he takes a different approach.
That's awesome.
He says the Dockers mascot is tough, fit, strong, while Rick is more of a rock star who's just incredibly cool.
Oh, gosh. Hell yeah.
That's my kind of mascot.
He's actually my favorite actor.
I mean, he's pretty good. He plays 4 roles weekly.
4 iconic roles week to week.
It's pretty amazing. That pretty much brings us to the end of the episode. I could talk to you forever, Alexei. And I'd love for people to hear your great show, Mic Check, but also Total Reboot.
Total Reboot.
Oh, my head was... I was about to say Total Reboot. I'm like, no, that's the movie that they're spoofing. What's the actual one?
Yeah.
No, it's already
That's the
overtaken Total Recall.
That's a freaking spoof. Yeah, so it's Total Reboot. It's me and comedian Cameron James. We explore cinema and talk about reboots, remakes, and rip-offs in cinema.
And you got to trust Cameron because he had the Congo poster on his wall growing up.
Exactly. He's got sublime taste in movies.
The man knows films.
He knows it all and he loves it all.
Have you done any primate related?
I'm trying to think. We have done the Tomb Raider franchise and the Jumanji franchise.
great.
So we've done a lot of movies set in the jungle. Basically, we also did Jurassic Park. So many jungle movies.
Haven't you call your listeners jungle babies, don't you?
Yes, because I accidentally said it once. I went to say "Welcome to the Jungle, baby," but I said "Welcome to the Jungle, babies," and now it's stuck, and that's what we call our listeners,
The jungle babies. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. As opposed to Dave loves on Mic Check how you call the Mic Check Republic.
Mike Czech Republic and horny babies are the citizens of the Mike Czech Republic.
I'm definitely a citizen.
Yeah, baby, you're horny.
Oh, swing.
So people can find you there. What about online? Do you have a Twitter?
Yes, I'm on Twitter at This Is Alexei, and I'm also on Instagram at the same handle. This is Alexei.
I'll link all this in the show notes. Dave, where can people find you?
You can find me weekly talking with Mr. Matt Stewart on our Do Go On podcast with Jess Perkins, where we talk about a topic from history, might be a person, a place, or a thing. And one of us does a report, the other two try and stop them from doing that report.
One of my favorite podcasts, I must say. Absolutely adore you guys. You've taught me many a thing or two about the entire world of history.
Oh, I
It's
am horny,
too
baby.
sweet. And do you want to sizzle your new show? This won't be coming out for a couple
It's
of
not
weeks.
coming out for a little while. So it's coming up soon. I'm going to do a little bit of a Do Go On spin-off which is forcing me to read more. I'm doing a show called Book Cheat.
Oh,
Where
cool.
I read a classic book or a play. No, it's not a movie. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Books are my least favorite form of media,
Oh,
so
great. You
I'm
could
gonna
be a great guest.
I am so interested already.
So basically, and I tell you all about, your Charles Dickens, your Jane Austens, your Bronte sisters, stuff that you'd love to say you've read, but who's got the time? Well, I've made the time. I've read the book, and I'm going to tell two special guests about one every episode. And by the end of it, both you and they will be able to pretend you've read it.
This is a perfect idea. I'm so involved. I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Such a good idea.
Been banking a couple of episodes, so it may not be out by the time this is out, but it is coming very soon in 2018.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. It's gonna debut at the Sundance Film Festival.
Oh my goodness. Sundance? The Sundance Kids?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got a ticket to the dance.
Oh, yeah.
We should get going, but Alexei, I know I've been pushing the pressure on a guest because I don't have a sign off or anything yet. And if you could just riff a primate related sign off to go out on, no pressure on it being amazing, but I'm sure you can make it the best that we've ever had. But thank you so much for joining us, Dave.
Thank you, guys. Goodbye.
And thank you so much for joining us, Alexei. And as we always say here at Primates Podcast,
Well, it's time for this ape to make its escape.
so good.
Surely that's the best one so far.
That's one.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates. I mean, if you want. It's up to you.